you can hear me, I'm going to show you all a little trick that I learned 9 years ago. If you press Street View, you can do something that used to happen in the South Pole that no longer happens, but it still happens in the North Pole. You tap here in the center. Oh, it's zoomed in this time. Well, I went into the northern hemisphere, which is the ocean. Look where it took us. There's no water around here, is there? Very interesting, isn't it? Now let's go a little further out. Let's go to Africa, the ocean below it. Now we ended up at the store, but I want to end up at the church. Yeah. I'm not doing it anymore. Let's see if we can end up at the church this time. Yeah. Get it. And there's my buddy. And there's the entrance to the church. It's so beautiful. And where are we? We're in the ocean. Below Africa. There's the equator. Right on the equator in the ocean. The South Pole used to do something like this, but it doesn't do it anymore. But the circle is still there. There it is. The sphere. The womb of creation, the mother. There used to be a cross that would go down from 8958 south all the way to the 90 south. The very center would be the right side of the crossbar, but it's no longer there. And if I tap on Street View, it doesn't zoom in anymore. See, it just spins now when I try to do Street View. And see how far back we gotta go before we get a reaction from Street View. Wow. Wow. Finally. But I didn't even tap on that spot. I tapped the center. Come on. No, I'm not trying to go all the way over there. I'm trying to go to the center. Yep, it just spins and spins. We tap that center. No. Come on, go to the center. Yep, that's where it takes me. But on the southern border, completely different. Oh, we went into the north this time. Let's see where we are now. Yep, definitely a different place than the place earlier. Africa, the equator, we're back in the store. Now let's go down the equator south, away from Africa. The prime meridian. Now we're going further. And remember, I'm tapping Street View in the ocean of Google Earth. And I'm not on the land. Now let's continue to go south. Now we're going into another part of the ocean. Let's see where we're going. Where's all the water? There's no water. Isn't that weird? Oh, the other church. Oh, this is different than the one that I remember. Alright, let's continue to go south. Away from Africa. And then back into the ocean. And now we are inside of a warehouse. Where is the ocean? See, Google Earth shouldn't do this kind of thing, but for me, well, I'm different than everyone else. And that'll do it. Or you know what? Let's do an EVP session. I'm doing screen recording. Alright, any of the invisible entities around me want to say something? Jesus Christ, are you there? Dude, I'm trying to do a video. Yeah. I'm recording right now. I've been recording now for 8 minutes and 24 seconds. I won't spend too much time on this part. I hope I can make quick response from the invisible world. You can use my energy. Yeah, let me move the phone around. Yep. There we go. Come on, there we go. Highly. First word you say is highly. Let's look up the biblical meaning of that.
In the Bible, highly
The word highly
means to a great extent.
functions
Phrases
as
like highly favored and highly exalted show unearned divine grace, divine choice, or a high spiritual status given by God, not human effort.
intensifier, meaning To a great degree or utmost extent, most notably appearing in phrases like highly forward and highly exalted. It signifies receiving underlying divine grace, being chosen for a specific sacred calling, or holding an elevated spiritual status granted entirely by God rather than human achievements. The biblical phrases. Highly favored, Luke 1:28, used by the angel Gabriel to greet Mary, meaning she was graciously targeted by God. Unmerited favor to bear Jesus, not because of her own inherent superiority. Highly exalted, Philippians 2:9, describes God raising Jesus to the highest place of honor and authority after his obedient sacrifice on the cross. Think not highly, Romans 12:3, used as a warning against human pride or arrogance, using believers to maintain sober, humble self-assessment. Core spiritual meaning, divine grace. It represents God pouring out his unearned kindness and spiritual blessing. Purposeful calling. Being highly positioned by God always comes with a heavy duty or mission for his kingdom rather than a life of ease. Abolishing pride. Spiritual usage contrasts human ambition with God's standard, demanding humility over self-exaltation. Now, let's take a deeper dive with AI mode. In the Bible, highly primarily used to magnify a state of being indicated an extreme degree of divine elevation, spiritual honor, and sovereign selection. It shifts a concept from ordinary human experience into the realm of spiritual significance. The biblical meaning depends on the specific phrase it anchors. Highly favored. The most famous biblical use of highly appeared in the phrase highly favored in the Gospel of Luke. The angel Gabriel greets Mary by calling her highly favored, Luke 1:28. The root meaning, the original Greek word used for is chariotu, but that's just char, it, and double O, or two. I see the beginning of my name, Charles, the four first letters, followed by the letter, the word it, followed by double O, which is infinity. Interesting. Which literally means endowed with special honor or highly graced. It is a passive verb, meaning the person did not earn this status, rather God completely initiated it, chosen for a purpose. In this context, highly signifies being sovereignly handpicked by God for a monumental, heavy, and unique divine assignment, extended to all believers. While Mary received a unique physical assignment, the Apostle Paul uses the exact same Greek root word in Ephesians 1:6 to describe all Christians, standing that God has made believers accepted, highly favored in the beloved. Highly exalted. When highly is applied to positions or names, it refers to supreme authority and ultimate victory. The elevation of Christ. In Philippians 2:9, Scripture states that because of Jesus' obedience unto death, God has highly exalted him and given him a name above every name. The root meaning, the Greek word here is Hupper So. But really, I see P-E-R, per, and I see the word up, and I see the word so, followed by O. I bet the H is honor, the U is unique, the P is perfect, the E is eternal, the R is righteous, the other U could be unexplained, the P following the U could be peaceful, the S could be sovereign, the O could represent Omega, and the other O could be, well, whatever you want, whatever makes sense to you, which translates to exalting beyond measure or raising to the highest possible summit of the power and dignity. Highly esteemed. The Bible also uses highly to contrast human perspectives with divine reality. God's favor versus man's pride. In Daniel 9:23, the angel tells Daniel he is highly esteemed in the eyes of God due to his heart and prayer. A warning to humility. Conversely, Jesus delivers a sharp warning in Luke 16:15, stating that what is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of God. Here, highly warns against human arrogance, pride, and the superficial elevation of worldly wealth or status. Alright, now let's go back to the EVP app real quick. And let's see what they follow up with next. That was a great word that we brought out. I appreciate you for sharing. Since I got uploaded this app, Gabriel, extent, cleaning, restored, privacy, extent, promising, unknown, client, near others, noon, relate, and highly are the reactions I've gotten from the invisible world utilizing this app, which is an electric voice phenomenon detector. I've been using it for about 9 years now. It's how I talk to the invisible world inhabitants. Ain't that right, my friend? Let's look up the biblical meaning of priest, and then we'll stop the video. In the Bible, a priest is a mentor who bridges the gap between humanity and God. The word primarily means one who draws near or one who stands before God on behalf of others. While prophets bring messages from God to people, priests represent the people before God through worship, prayer, and sacrifice. The biblical concept of a priest evolved through three major stages. The Old Testament priesthood, Levitical. In the Old Testament, God established a formal priesthood through Aaron and the tribe of Levi, Exodus 28:1. Their roles were strictly defined by divine law. The root meaning, the Hebrew word for priest, is Kohen, Ko, and he, followed by the letter N. How about King, Omega, holy, eternal, neutral, which means one who ministers or officiates. The high priest, only one high priest served at a time. He alone could enter the Most High Place once a year on the Day of Anointment, Yom Kippur, to offer blood sacrifices for the sins of the nation. Mediation and sacrifice. Priests offer daily animal sacrifices to temporarily cover the sins of people, keeping them in the right relationship with God. Priests continue to perpetuate the lie that sin is still existing when Jesus died for sin to be eradicated. So sin no longer actually exists, but they continue to tell people today that you are born a sinner because they continue to utilize the story in the Garden of Eden of Adam and Eve's deed by not listening to God's rules, which is bullshit. Jesus already paid that price. It's already been taken care of. But they continue to tell people that they're born sinners because what do? They start off with the Old Testament, and it takes a long time before they get to the New Testament, where Jesus clearly has finished the Old Testament's problem with sin. There were spiritual guardians. They were tasked with teaching God's law, discerning clean from unclean, and offering blessings over community. Jesus Christ as the ultimate high priest. The New Testament teaches that the Old Testament priesthood was a temporary shadow. Jesus is the ultimate fulfillment of the office of priest. Hebrews 4:14 through 16. A new order. Jesus did not belong to the tribe of Levi. Instead, he is a priest favored forever in the order of Melchizedek, an ancient kingly priesthood that predates Abraham. Hebrews 7. The final sacrifice. Unlike earthly priests who had to offer sacrifices repeatedly, Jesus was both the priest and the perfect sacrifice. His death on the cross paid for human sin once and for all. Eternal intercession. Jesus now lives forever in heaven to actively pray and intercede for believers, giving humans direct access to God without an eternal mentor. The priesthood of all believers. Because of Jesus, the structure of the priesthood shifted completely. The New Testament teaches that every Christian is now part of a spiritual priesthood. The new title, the Apostle Peter describes the global church as a royal priesthood and a holy nation. 1 Peter 2:9. The root meaning. The Greek word used in hera atuma. Well, I see the word high, era, E-R-A, tomb, T-E-U-M-N-A, high era, to tomb alpha. Well, I'll play with the word later. Meaning, a body of priests, spiritual sacrifices. Believers no longer offer animal sacrifices. Instead, they offer spiritual sacrifice. Their bodies, praise, good deeds, and financial generosity as acts of worship. Romans 12:1, Hebrews 13:15 through 16. The mandate. Every believer now has the right to enter God's presence directly through prayer and the responsibility to represent God's love and truth to the rest of the world. Alright. Now let's check how many minutes we're at now. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video.